Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Swarm, a BW football podcast. I'm your host, Matt Florjancic, and for the next 30 minutes, we'll be talking all things Yellow Jacket football. We'll be breaking down the 36-7 victory over the Otterbein Cardinals last Saturday, and then preview this week's Cuyahoga Gold Bowl trophy matchup with the John Carroll University Blue Streaks in University Heights. We'll catch up with offensive lineman Nick Lulow. We'll also talk with linebacker Dom Tromba and finish it up with the head coach, Jim Hilvert. Then we'll take a look at the weekend ahead for all of the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jacket athletic teams. First off, though, we're going to kick it off with linebacker Dom Tromba. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Swarm Podcast. Matt Florjancic, now joined by junior linebacker for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, Dom Tromba, a man whose name you hear a lot on game days, it seems, as Dom is in on a lot of tackles for the Yellow Jackets. Dom, it's a pleasure to talk with you and to put a face with the name that we call so often in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So, Dom, taking a look, we'll start right there. I mean, where does your nose for the football come from? Is it just a physical thing? Is it a mental thing? Is it a mix of both? Like, are you constantly in the film room trying to find ways to get better?
For starters, I'm the youngest of 5 with 4 older brothers.
Oh,
so that's where I get a little bit of that kind of competitive knack for things, kind of that toughness. And then just growing up, all my brothers played football, and we've been a football family for as long as I can remember. So that's been a big part of it. And then in high school, we had a strength coach come over my junior year, and he had put a lot of emphasis on the weight room, getting as strong as possible, and just being the more physical team out there. And that truly made a difference in my playing career. I had a good position coach there too, Coach Marcus Jones. He played at Gannon University, running back. He led the nation in rushing yards at one point. But and then the strength coach, Brian Doberdruck. But those two guys stand out. They made a big difference in my playing career, kind of how I approach things. And then coming here, Coach Nickel and I came in at the same time. So we've each been here for 3 years, and he does a good job of preparing us. He stays tough on us. So that definitely helps when things get close in a game. Just kind of having that background where, you've been there before, you've got yelled at it before, so now it's time to go back out there and correct it. And then just in the film room, I would say I spend north of 6 hours a week watching film outside of our team film sessions. So just being prepared for any and everything they could throw at you is one of the biggest things.
You just unpacked a lot there, but let's go back to the family part of it first. The youngest of 5 boys. I mean, first of all, kudos to your mom. It has to be one tough young lady. Looking at what you were able to learn from them, I mean, you were probably around the game from a very young age. How were you able to kind of absorb it, but also develop your own path within the game?
Yeah. First of all, on my mom, not only that, but she ended with twins, so I'm a twin myself. So
oh man,
yeah, that was but yeah, I would just say
you're the younger of the twins.
I'm the
right?
youngest. Yep.
Oh man,
younger by 3 minutes to my twin, and then the rest of us are 3 years apart, which is kind of neat. But
okay.
Yeah, I would just say the biggest thing would be toughness, because my brothers were always bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me, and we had 2 older brothers, and me and my twin, we would have a perfect 2-on-2 teams for whatever game we wanted to play, whether it be football, basketball, anything in the yard, or just being the youngest one, getting picked on. That's how it is when you have brothers, sisters, siblings, whatever. But yeah, I would just say growing up, I finally grew up, started hitting the weight room. Now they don't really mess with me anymore, but they were a big part of that motivational piece to kind of become that strong force that I am now.
Are you the only one that's gone on to play in college, or have they all gone on to play in college?
So we all played football through high school. My second oldest brother wrestled at Otterbein, and then I'm the only one who stuck out football.
Did you also wrestle when you were in high school?
I wrestled up until, I want to say, freshman year, and then I just focused on football.
Why was that? What drew you to the gridiron?
I I've always loved football. That's always been my number one. And then growing up, I used to play as many sports as possible. I wrestled, did track and field, played basketball, football, baseball, and then football was one of the things I was best at. It was one of the things I enjoyed the most. So that's kind of what led to my decision to kind of stick with it.
Cool. Taking a look at what brought you here, before you could make plays for the Yellow Jackets, you had to commit to the program and enroll in the school. What made you want to be a Baldwin Wallace student athlete?
I was actually between here and that other place that we play this week. And I would say the biggest difference was when I came for my overnight visit. When I went for my overnight visit there, I just didn't really feel welcome. I didn't feel that sense of family. It just kind of felt like everyone was kind of full of themselves, and I didn't really want to be a part of something like that. So ultimately made the decision to come here. You could say Baldwin Wallace nowadays is viewed as an underdog compared to those teams. So I kind of want to be part of that underdog story. But yeah, I had some guys from my high school that were already here, and that's who I took my overnight with when I came here. And I just felt like more welcome, more of a family sense, and I just think it was ultimately the best fit.
So that was what your initial impression was. What's it lived up to over the last 3 years for you?
Has not disappointed. Yeah, I think it's honestly been better than expected. It's been nice. Obviously, like I said, there was guys here from my high school when I got here, and then even after I graduated from high school, there's more guys from Riverside that are coming and playing here. So, you could say it's kind of like a pipeline, but it's just nice, that sense of family, and I just Coach saw me. She saw how hard I worked, and he got me the opportunities that I deserved, and you've seen that it's reflected on success. So I would say this has definitely been as good, if not better, the best decision I could have made.
So taking a look at what you've been able to accomplish this year, I joked with Coach and a little bit with you beforehand, but it really does seem like you're in on every play. You're just all over the field for the Yellow Jackets. You have good coverage behind you. You have a stout defensive line in front of you that can generate pressure on the quarterback. What's it like to be in the middle of this defense when you have the kind of talent around you?
It's honestly a feeling I've never felt before, because we're a young core and we've been playing together for some years. So now that we kind of have that experience piece and we kind of feel that chemistry amongst us, it just makes it easier to play for your guys. And one of the issues I kind of noticed in the past was we had some guys with some egos on the team, and kind of as graduation classes have funneled through, we've kind of filtered some of that stuff out. So it's really just guys buying into the program and wanting to play for each other now, and that's honestly the best thing. I would tell you our front seven's the best part of our defense, but then you look at our cornerbacks, obviously Kaufman from Ohio State, that's a crazy pickup. Marquis has grown into an insane role. Young safeties have grown into their roles. It just feels, I just feel comfortable out there because I know I could count on the guy to the left of me, to the right of me. Playing next to Jonathan Dixon, that makes a big difference. We're always able to talk through stuff, kind of sort through stuff and figure stuff out. So it just makes it easy, and when you don't have to think about stuff or worry about, are they going to be there to make that play, you could just go, and you could just go 100%, and you don't have to worry about messing up or anything. You could just focus on your role and trust that your guys got your back.
So not only are you able to do that mentally, but now you're starting to see it on film. When you break down a lot of film during the week, you said about 6 hours on your individual time. You're noticing that your defense is making plays. And this past week, I should say, 3 quarterbacks play for Otterbein. Each of them get picked off by the Yellow Jackets. Is this defense starting to really round into form, in your opinion?
Yeah, Coach always puts emphasis on getting turnovers, and most times than not in football, the team with more turnovers for them that they've gotten is going to be the team that comes out on top. And you've seen throughout this season so far, our defense has grown from week to week. We really struggled against a purple team, but we kind of came back this week after 2 weeks of itching to get back out there, and starting to put things together, starting to make less errors, less critical errors. And I think we're just barely scratching the surface of our potential, and we're going to be dangerous. So I would say watch out.
Taking a look at what you have ahead, you've gotten a lot of the home games out of the way. You still have 2 left, but before you can get those 2 home games still played, you have 2 road games back-to-back against 2 of the tougher teams in the Ohio Athletic Conference. You get this week that team across the county, and then you get Marietta coming up on the 26th. I mean, this is going to be a 2-game stretch, a 2-week stretch where you learn an awful lot about yourselves, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the things we preach as a team is focusing on the week that you're in right now, going 1-0 every single week. And I feel like against that purple team, we kind of got away from that a little bit. The game was bigger than in our heads than we expected, and we kind of got caught up in that. So it was kind of nice having that bye week to just go back to our principles of just taking it week by week. And we're not scared of any opponent. Everyone's super excited for the opportunities ahead of us. We're looking forward to the challenges. Couldn't be more excited.
So we'll get you out of here on this question. I mean, take us behind the mask in terms of the rivalry game with John Carroll. I mean, it's a game that everybody circles on their calendar every year. You look forward to playing in it.
Right.
You've been on the wrong side of it a couple times now. From your perspective, what's it like to play in those games? Is there a different level of intensity, and what's it going to be like, or what's it going to take, I should say, for you to finish off the Blue Streaks and get a W this week?
Yeah, one of the things that we kind of embrace is playing those close, hard-fought games, and obviously we always want to come out on top. So that's one thing we kind of try and focus on. And like these games, like you could just kind of feel it on your insides. Like you just feel all these emotions. Usually the stands are packed, so you just kind of feel all the emotions, all the energy, and that leads to the kind of the size of the game, like how big of a game it is. And a lot of the guys this year, they're just looking forward to those opportunities and can't wait to get after it.
Well, Dom, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us today. I wish you luck not only this week but the rest of the season.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's star linebacker for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, Dom Tromba. We'll have more for you coming up after the break on the Swarm Podcast. Our thanks again go out to Dom Tromba for joining us here on the Swarm Podcast. And now we're going to send it over to our interview with offensive lineman Nick Lulow. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Swarm Podcast. I'm Matt Florjancic, joined by offensive lineman for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, Nick Lulow. Nick, thank you very much for taking the time and talking with us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, Nick, taking a look at what the Yellow Jackets have been able to accomplish this year, it's been a solid year offensively, both running the football and protecting the quarterback. From your perspective, being up front, I mean, what's it like to play in this offense?
You know, it's kind of a blessing, honestly, I think, for kind of the weapons we have are very dynamic. And I think that makes it, as an offensive lineman, very easy. I think when you're able to run the ball, when you're able to pass the ball, and be able to do basically everything you want to. It makes it easy. It makes it fun. I don't think there's a better way to put it than that.
This offense has a lot of experienced players at key positions. One of the positions where you're younger at, and I know you're only a sophomore, so we'll throw you in the mix as well, but Charlie at quarterback, I mean, you two are two of the younger guys who are contributing to this offense. What's it like to be, you know, surrounded by all those veterans, and how has that helped you raise your level of play?
I think it's just been able to kind of look onto them and see how they kind of carry themselves, how they prepare, how they practice. I think for me and Charlie especially, Charlie's been able to kind of grow as a quarterback, grow as a player, same as me. And I think just being able to look onto them, ask them questions, kind of have them help me grow as a player, kind of those older guys leave their legacy in a way. They obviously have more experience than I do. And so just being able to lean onto them and ask them when I need help. Yeah.
So taking a look at your offensive line room as a whole, I mean, you have quite a bit of a game experience. Not only you individually, you played a lot last season, but as a unit, you have a lot of time together. Mm-hmm. What's the cohesion like, and how nice is it to have experience playing with the guy next to you?
Oh, it's huge. Offensive line, it's one of those things, it's 5 guys. 5 is 1 is what we like to say. So you got to have trust. And I think when you're able to play multiple games with each other and be together for multiple years, it kind of grow. We grow together. We learn together. We get better, and we kind of know each other's weaknesses. We know each other's strengths. So just being able to kind of have that relationship, have that cohesion, kind of be able to work together and put points on the board.
Yeah, that's something that has not been a problem for the Yellow Jackets this year. You've had quite a bit of offensive success, scoring multiple touchdowns week in and week out. I mean, how much fun has it been to play in an offense that can move the ball at any point in the game down the field and finish in the end zone?
It's a great time. I think it makes it enjoyable, especially when as an offensive line you want to be able to run the ball when you go down to another team's place like we did earlier in the year. Capital ran for 300 yards and Wilmington did the same. I think when we're able to just produce and be able to get yards per carry, and then when we get down beyond the sticks, be able to pass the ball, get the first down, and keep moving the chains, it makes it fun. It makes it enjoyable. It makes it I don't really know the word, but it's kind of I don't know. There's more than that.
It's just fun.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fun to play in for
yeah.
sure. Looking at offensive line specifically, I've long heard that offensive linemen love a good running game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? And why is it that you guys really embrace the opportunity to block for running backs?
I think I will say, as an offensive lineman, running the ball, it's a lot harder on your body. You get more tired. But when you could go and just run the ball down somebody's throat and take their will and kind of pose your will, if you will, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling because when you could look on the other side of the ball and be like, yeah, we're gonna block you and we're gonna go. Our running back's gonna run right past you and get 5, 10, 20 yards, and that's gonna happen. I mean, it's not a better feeling than that.
Looking at what you've been able to accomplish as a running attack this year, I mean, you started off with Victor getting the bulk of the carries earlier in the season. George has come on strong as well, started to work a carry share, if you will, with Victor Ford Jr. And then you have other backs like Josiah Sessler and Tyrone Singleton. Yeah. When they get in the game, they can spring a big run seemingly at will, which I think goes to what you're able to do and your group is able to do. But just what do you see out of the running backs, and how much confidence do you have, no matter who's in the backfield, that they can gain yards?
It doesn't matter who's in there. I have our whole offensive line has full confidence in all 4 of them, all 5 of them. We have a good running back group. Coach Mullen does a great job. And we kind of, whoever's in there, they all have different strengths. They're all different players. Like George is going to run straight down through your face.
Yeah.
Tyrone's going to maybe jump in the hole, jump out, get yards on the outside. Josiah's going to do the same as Josiah's kind of could do both. They're all different players, but when you know whoever's back there is going to go get yards and go fight, it's special. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's been fun to watch what the running game can do. You sort of have a front row seat to it, but everything kind of happens behind you till after the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But looking to the passing game, I mean, you have a lot of talented receivers to work the ball to. And Charlie's really done a good job to spread the wealth, but he also does a pretty good job at protecting the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, he doesn't put the ball in dangerous spots. I mean, from your vantage point, when you have a quarterback that can do that at such a young age in his career, he's only a sophomore, had 1 game of starting experience coming into the year. I mean, does that give you a boost as an offensive lineman to know, hey, if I hold my blocks, he's going to make a good decision and help us get down the field?
Yeah. Yeah, our goal as offensive line is just give him time back there. Give him the opportunity to follow his reads, make the plays he's going to make, because he'll make them. He's a special player. Truly blessed to have him behind us and be able to run our offense. When you could hold your block for 4 to 6 seconds, you either know it's a ball down the field or he's gonna jump out of the pocket, maybe run for some yards, go make a crazy play like he has before. When you have a quarterback like that, it's hard to it makes it easy on us, really.
I talked to George Limburger last week, and I asked him about Charlie's ability to run down the field. And I also asked him the same question I'm going to ask you. Do you ever tell him to duck or step out of bounds so he doesn't take a hit? Because Charlie is a guy that seems, from a quarterback perspective, doesn't mind taking a hit if he can help deliver one as well.
Yeah. I love that out of him, though. But, yeah, you obviously don't want your quarterback to get hit. Sometimes you definitely should just throw it out of bounds or slide or not take the hit that he doesn't need to take. But he's a tough kid, and truly blessed to have him on my team.
Taking a look at your career as a whole, there's been some Riverside guys that have come into the Baldwin Wallace program and done some things. We just talked to one in Dom Tromba, but we're looking at what brought you to this program. Why did you want to be a Yellow Jacket?
I think for me it was just the championship atmosphere, and we talk about it all the time, but I came here to be a winner, and I think when I was getting recruited, I had a great connection with Coach Hilvert. Coach Brown came into the picture too, and I think I just connected really well. And obviously having those Riverside guys already here kind of felt like home. I was already comfortable with a couple of the guys on the team and kind of branched out and just met a ton of great people here. And I think the opportunity Baldwin Wallace brings for after football and after my college career, I think I'll be set up for success.
What does the after football career hold for you? What are you majoring in here, and what would you like to do with your degree?
Majoring in finance, and I'm looking to try to be a financial advisor and just see where that takes me from there. I'm also minoring in entrepreneurship, be a business owner, try to make money. That's really it.
There you go. Last question, we'll get you out on this note, Nick. Big game this week. You get that team across the county from University Heights. Likely the last regular season game you're going to get to play against them for quite a while as they shift their conference from the OAC to the NCAC. I mean, how much are you looking forward to this game and getting after it against the John Carroll Blue Streaks?
Oh, I'm pumped. I think for me, I didn't play against them last year, so it's the first time starting against this team. I'm obviously heard about the rivalry from the whole team, from Coach Hilvert. I'm pumped. I'm excited, and I'm looking for the opportunity to go play at third place too. I want to go get that rock back, bring it to Berea, take it from University Heights, and celebrate.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing what the rest of the year has in store for you, Nick.
Thank you.
That's Nick Lulow, offensive lineman for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Thanks again, Nick, for taking the time earlier this week to talk with us here on the Swarm Football Podcast. And now it's time to talk to the head coach himself, Mr. Jim Hilvert. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Swarm Podcast. Matt Florjancic now joined by the head coach of the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jacket football team, Coach Jim Hilvert. And, Coach, thank you again for taking the time to talk with us this week.
Oh, Matt, thanks for having me on.
So, Coach, after the bye week break, you start off in fine fashion, getting a W against Otterbein 36-7 in front of the home crowd. I mean, how did it feel to, first of all, get back on the field after the 2 weeks in between games and then to get a victory in front of the home fans?
Oh, it felt great. It was good to just see us get back kind of in that routine, being able to play every single week. It was good to get the bad taste out of our mouth. Like I said, last 2 weeks, well, we went back to basics and went back kind of the fundamentals of what we needed to work on. And the kids did some good things on Saturday. Caused 5 turnovers. We blocked the punt. Did some really good things on special teams. And I was proud of the kids. They did, like I said, played well from start to finish. A lot of different guys contributed in the win. We played complementary football.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where the offense played well in spurts and the defense played well in spurts and the special teams did what they had to do to positively affect the game. I mean, that's really what you talk about when you talk about complementary football, guys doing things just staying in their lanes, doing their assignments, and eventually making the plays as they present themselves.
When you create 5 turnovers on a defense and be able to get the ball to our offense, because I think we got some really good weapons on the offense side of the ball to be able to continue to get the ball back to them, give them more possessions to be able to score some points. It was great to see. Obviously, there's some things that we think we left on the field. Feel like you could have scored a couple more points out there. You learn from it. You watch the film, you get better from it, and obviously going into a big week like this, you keep improving on those little things.
Yeah, taking a look back at what the defense was able to do, Otterbein threw 3 different quarterbacks at you. It seemed like as soon as they committed a turnover, they got a quick hook and somebody else was going in. In fact, one of the young men who played for Otterbein had not taken a snap yet through the first few weeks of the season, and he makes his debut against you. But, 3 quarterbacks play, each one of them picked off. Talk about the play of the defense, specifically the backfield, and just their ability to make plays for you.
Yeah, I think for us, after playing against Mount Union, we obviously had the bad taste. We did not didn't play our best, and we knew we had to do some things the last, like I said, 2 weeks to get us back to where we needed to be. I think our guys did a really good job, better job of tackling, creating turnovers. The ball was on the ground a lot, tackling well, getting the ball out, playing assignment football, like you said, harassing the quarterback. Being out for opportunities on Marquis. Bleak had his first college interception. So did Terry Hansel, had his first college interception. For those guys to be able to do that and contribute in such a way, I was really happy for them.
Yeah, and obviously if they're playing well, it's usually in concert with the way that the linebackers and the defensive line are playing. What did you think of the front seven's performance in terms of their ability to generate some pressure, especially later as the game went on?
Did a great job, obviously. I thought, too, we played really good assignment football. We were in the right checks that we needed to be in and stuff like that with the different formations and things that they gave us, which they gave us some different stuff, and we did a really good job. Different guys stepped up. And playing complementary football from the defensive line to the linebacker, secondary, they all did their job and played very well.
Yeah, when you look at what you've been able to do from a linebacker's perspective all year, obviously Jonathan Dixon is one of the guys that helps stir the drink for you, but a guy who just continues to jump off the page from a playmaking standpoint, and I know this because I've been behind the mic and I've called his name probably 100 times already, is Dom Tromba. Dom just seems to have that knack for the football, that he's always around it, but that's part and parcel to not only playing passionately but also knowing your assignments and going back to your previous comment about playing assignment football, good assignment football. Is Dom really kind of the prime example of that for your defense?
He definitely has, and obviously he contributed since he was a freshman. You can see every year he's gotten better and better, now being a junior, which I can't believe he's a junior now. But yeah, every year he's matured. He's grown as a linebacker, knows what's going on, knows what to expect from teams, and he loves playing a great game of football, which is neat to be able to watch as a coach because he loves being out there. And like you said, he's out there making a lot of plays, getting excited with his teammates, and he's a guy that loves to win.
From a leadership standpoint, obviously Jonathan kind of sets the tone. He's one of your senior leaders for the defense in that linebacking core. But I imagine Dom's like a half a step behind him in terms of that ability to motivate guys to step up and make plays.
Yeah, definitely. And he makes the calls too. He knows he's a very smart football player, makes calls. But yeah, definitely a leader by example, a guy that's really willing to step up and get out of his comfort zone and do the right thing.
Taking a look offensively, another solid performance by Charlie Bubonics, a couple of touchdown passes in the victory. And he really it seemed against Otterbein, he stayed within himself and just made the plays that needed to be made. He didn't try to do anything too much, try to win the game on every throw. He just put the ball where it needed to be, and that's a credit not only to him but also the wide receivers for running good routes too.
Yes, one of my favorite plays is when he's felt some pressure from the outside, stepped up in the pocket, and threw a dart, I believe it was to Timmy Conwell, down the middle of the field, and when it was 4th down and 9 or whatever it was, because I like how he stepped up in the pocket and winged it. Timmy Conwell had another great game, 7 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. But all those guys contributed in different ways at the receiving core. And Charlie was just steady Eddie, like you said. Not too high, not too low, being very consistent, and did a really good job.
Where do you think he's grown the most this year, being the fact that this is his first year as a full-time starter for you, and he's had opportunities to make plays?
I think just having more experience in knowing what to expect in games and stuff like that. I think getting that game last year, Muskegum under his belt, and then I think the Wittenberg game, him growing from that game has been big from week to week. Playing a big game like that, a historical rivalry game, the first game here, kind of got all those jitters out going into the rest of the year. And he's grows. I think he grows every week.
What does that do for the confidence of the offense as a whole around him? He jumped into a not necessarily an easy thing to do for a young guy, in the fact that your offense has a lot of experience around him.
I think he does. And all those guys, like I said, they like him. They rally around him. One of the guys you're going to talk to is Lulow, a guy that as a sophomore has really stepped up on the offensive line. Grant Davis, another guy that you talked about, a leader, guy's been around the block and has done a really good job on the offensive line, moving from defensive line to offensive line. He's another pillar in there on the offensive line. So those guys, I think, help with Charlie growing, George, and all those guys being around.
What's that transition like? I mean, you're kind of helped co-run the defense here, and you had to give up one of your guys up front so the offensive line could be better. I mean, what's the transition like when you switch a guy like that?
First of all, you ask him, and he was whatever coach, like Grant, whatever it takes for us to be good. He did not care. Wanted to do it, and I told him I think he's going to be really good at it. You can see he's blossoming as a really good offensive lineman for us at guard. But a kid just cares about the program. He's a smart kid in the classroom. He excels with 4.0, and he's going to be, I believe he's blossoming into an all-conference offensive lineman.
All right, Coach, taking a look at now that we've looked back at what we've done here with the Yellow Jackets, let's take a look at what's ahead for the Yellow Jackets. You make that cross-county trip this week. You get the John Carroll University Blue Streaks. Obviously, there's no need to really belabor the point. I mean, this is not a heated rivalry, but this is a rivalry game for you. One of the ones on your schedule that you always pay attention to when it's at. How much are you looking forward to getting on the field at Shula Stadium on Saturday?
Oh, definitely. I think, like I said, it's one of the biggest rivalries in Division III football. No doubt about it. West side, east side, everybody can talk about all that stuff. Guys that we recruited, guys they recruited, all that different stuff. But no, I know our guys are excited about the opportunity. They have a very good football team. They're very well coached. A lot of good football players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball for them. And they do a good job schematically, offensively, defensively. It's going to be a really good football game. I'm really excited about our guys practicing this week and getting themselves ready for, obviously, a great opportunity we have in front of us this week.
This week kicks off a 2-game road trip for you. You get John Carroll, and then you go right from the frying pan to the fire, so to speak. And the fact that you get Marietta is going to be another grinder to the end. I mean, this is going to show you a lot about what you've built over the first 5 games of the year, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Playing the second half of the schedule, starting obviously with them, and starting obviously and then going to Marietta, and with the rest of our schedule with Ohio Northern, Muskegum, and Heidelberg, all great, really good opponents. And we're going to have to be on top of our game, and we have to keep getting better. You can't, we have to keep getting better. It can't be we peaked out already. I think I told our guys we've just scratched the surface on how good we can be, but we got to do that during practice and then showing it on game day.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for taking the time. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. I look forward to talking with you again next week, hopefully after a win over those Blue Streaks.
Appreciate it. It's great talking to you, man.
That's head coach Jim Hilvert of the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. More on the Swarm podcast coming up after the break. Our thanks again go out to Coach Hilvert for taking the time and talking with us earlier in the week and helping us to preview this upcoming week's game against John Carroll. Speaking of the weekend ahead, the Baldwin Wallace women's and men's bowling teams will participate in the Ohio Bowling Conference No. 2 in Columbus starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Then the women's cross-country team will participate in the 43rd Mike Woods Invitational in New York at 11 a.m., while the men will take to the course at 12 p.m. The women's and men's swimming and diving teams will be on the road at Wilmington. The first events start at 11 a.m., and then the women's volleyball team will welcome the Wilmington Quakers to Berea for a tri-match, with that contest starting at 12 p.m. The women's soccer team will also host Wilmington with the kickoff at 1 p.m. The women's volleyball team will then host Denison at the Ersprung Gymnasium at 3 p.m. And then the men's soccer team will round out the Saturday action at 7 p.m. at Wilmington. And once again, that game against John Carroll on the gridiron kicks off at 2 p.m. at Shula Stadium in University Heights. We look forward to some positive results for all of the Yellow Jacket sports teams this weekend, and we wish them well in their competition. Thanks again to my guests, linebacker Dom Tromba, offensive lineman Nick Lulow, and head coach Jim Hilvert for taking the time and talking with us here on The Swarm. For everybody at Baldwin Wallace, I'm Matt Florjancic, saying make today better than yesterday and make tomorrow better than today. And as always, go Jackets!